Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are in Inmates to Entrepreneurs 8-week course. Tonight is week 6, so we're going to be talking about growth and strategy. We have both Lawrence Carpenter and Ken McCoy back with us. You've met them both previously. But before we jump back into reintroductions and the course, a couple of quick reminders. This is being recorded. As I mentioned, I will send you all a recap email tomorrow. In that recap email will also be a link to the end of course survey. Please complete the end of course survey in order to receive your certificate of completion for the course. Also in that end of course survey is a like a spot where you can request an industry report. So it details what we need from you, but basically if you're interested in receiving more detailed information about your specific industry and then your specific industry within your specific geographic area, you would let us know like, hey, I'm interested in local detailing and I'm located in Jacksonville, Florida. And we can pull a report or as close of a report as we can, and then I can send that to you. So that is included in the end of course survey. So just keep a lookout for that. I do want to mention, Bridget, I'm so sorry. I see you keep getting booted out. Fortunately, there's not a lot we can do if there are Zoom issues. I will let you back in if it keeps kicking you out, but I will also send the recap tomorrow about your attendance. If you send the, if you complete the end of course survey when you get it, I'm going to be out of town the rest of the week. So if you respond to that recap email, if you complete your survey, I will not see it until Monday. So please don't think I've forgotten about you if you don't hear from me for a couple days. I'll get the recap out to you tomorrow, but every other correspondence, I'll get back to you next week, okay? I'll repeat this again at the end of class too. I just want to flag that so people don't think I'm ignoring them. Otherwise, we do have, as I mentioned, Ken and Lawrence back with us. Ken and Lawrence, I'm making you both co-hosts now. If you can, just remind us who you are, what your background is. When you're ready for the slides, let me know. We do have a good bit of content to cover tonight, so I don't know if you want to do elevator pitches now or try and hold off till the end. I'll let you guys decide. But you should both be co-hosts now, so just let me know when you're ready for the PowerPoint.
Think you might need to unmute.
Yeah, Lawrence, you are still muted.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
All right, all right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, King, Allie. I'm Lawrence Carpenter. I'm the owner of Super Clean Professional Janitorial Services, C-Tran Trucking, and also Triangle Investment Partners, which is a real estate firm here in Durham, North Carolina. Um, Formerly incarcerated. Started selling drugs at the age of 11, ended up in prison at the age of just turning 17. Got out, sold more drugs, thought I could do it better. Ended up back incarcerated um, around 2000. At that time, I realized I was an entrepreneur. I was just trying to do it the wrong way. Came out, made an intelligent decision to get into business. Um, Here I am. Been working with inmates to entrepreneur for maybe around 17 years at this time now. It's a blessing to be able to be here. I'm the person that always say anybody get interested in hearing anything I got to say is a blessing. That's just a little bit about me. Ken, I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll hop right into it.
All right, thank you, Lawrence. My name is Ken McCoy. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a native of New Orleans, Louisiana. I came through Hurricane Katrina, and I'm working with reentry. It's a great passion of mine, working with entrepreneurs who are coming out of jail or prison and helping them get back on track. Working with Operation New Hope. And also working as a multi-graduate of this program, inmates to entrepreneurs, and I'm glad to be a co-facilitator as well because I'm always a student, so I'm looking to learn. I'm also the proud owner of Magic Touch Clutch, which is an online fashion boutique for men, women, and kids, and I'm glad to be a part of this network, as always, contributing to paying it forward.
All right. All right. And we are a class that, we do like feedback, we do like correspondence. So we're not just talking at you guys. Just feel free if you have a question, you got a comment, anything, please raise your hand. We are on limited time, so I'm gonna kind of move fast tonight to try to get all the content in. Make sure you guys get it all. What we do with this course is we teach you guys business one-on-one for $0. The same thing you'll go to college and spend thousands of dollars to get. Um, what we be on, Allie?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What'd you say?
What week are we on?
Oh, sorry, we're on week 6.
Week 6. All right. So a lot of you guys started with us week 1. Well, I'm glad to see you still here. That means you're getting the information that you need and you're taking it. And you want to build upon it. Who want to do this? Who got what collar? Who got elevator pitches? Let me change my view on here. I'm on another laptop, so I don't know how to work this as well as I work my usual laptop. Anybody want to? You see any hands raised for elevator pitches? Anyone? Don't make me pick nobody now.
I don't, but I know this group is also really good about like if they warm up, maybe we can get somebody on the back
Okay.
end.
So you want me to try them on the back end?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try them on the back end.
Okay.
Let's hop right into the course. I'm coming back though. I see people ducking and hiding. I'm coming back to you. All right. All right. So this week is about growth and strategy. Growth and strategy, which is very important with any business you get involved with, your businesses. If you get in business to make money or to help people and stuff like that, you're gonna have to go through a growing process. We all went through it and go through it. Processes and routines help improve customer service. Set expectations with your customers about turnaround time. Don't lie to these people. If you just give them good, real content about the turnaround. If you say you ship in 3 business days, ship it in 3 business days. Have a standard for returning emails, texts, and calls. When people call you, don't leave them on red or don't leave it blank. That's not good communication, and a lot of people don't like that. It's okay to not provide immediate return calls, but manage the expectations. I'm busy right now. Can I get back to you in 3? That's the example, okay? Um, Use programs like Calendly, Once Hub, or other tools to set appointments, okay? Allow customers to book using the technology means one less phone call, one less task. Let's get with the technology. I need to preach that to myself. Um, Use a service checklist. Think what you get from Jiffy Lube. Just think about it. When you go to Jiffy Lube, they're gonna give you a whole service. Like prime example, our own trucks. We got a place we take them to get oil changes and things like that. When they done, they'll take me out to the truck. They'll walk around the truck. They'll go down the whole list of stuff that they did on the truck. We greased up all your joints. We changed the oil. We changed the filter. Right here, we noticed this. We did so. That's real good. That's why I continuously go back to them people because it make me feel like they're very precise. Did you do everything you said you were going to do? That's very important. Make sure you do what you say you're going to do. Did you ask for a review? Ask people for reviews. Did you ask for a referral? Referral, word of mouth is the most important thing in business. Word of mouth. Are you satisfied with the work that I've done with the product? That's a question you can ask. Growth is not always revenue. It can mean more freedom, stability, or impact. Let me say that again. Growth is not always revenue. Just because your money is not growing at a pace that you want to mean, don't mean your business not growing. The opportunity that you would come up with, the freedom that you have, the stability, the impact that you have on other people's lives, all of that go into your growth as a business. Okay? Let me get to the next on slide, Allie.
Oh, I was gonna say, Ken, do you want to add anything real
Yeah,
fast?
I'm sorry. Ken.
Oh no, man. No, I like how you put that, Lawrence, because when you're thinking about like just growth in general, organically, especially coming back, you have limited funds. You don't have that big following yet. So, one of the things once the competitive advantage is professionalism, being highly organized, and reliability. And those three are fruit. And as you build those growth processes, they add to everything you're doing. That's just wanted to add that, but everything else is great.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Ken. All right. There are once I'm sorry, there are fancy software packages that allow you to do this very well. Like like I said, once again, OneHub and Zoho. But a system can be paper and pencil or a spreadsheet. That was me in the beginning. It's funny because my sister, she get on me all the time because I'm one of the type people where I have everything on my laptop. But like prime example, invoices. I have everything on my laptop, but for some odd reason, whenever I do invoices, I still like to print out one and keep it in my desk. And the funny thing is, a lot of times I don't have to use it, but I remember one day I got to the office and the power was out, and I was able to still work that day because I still had hard copies. So, you know, don't be me, the dude that don't want to get away and get into technology. Be the techno person, okay? All right. There's some other systems you can use. Track. Well, these are things you need to do. You need to track the name, the email, fun details about your client, okay, your potential client. One of the things I always say in business is relationship. To me, I'd rather have relationships over money any day of the week because if you build good relationships, you can make money all over town, right? And I, that's one of the things. Like I can remember I was trying to get the contract for all the YMCA's around here. It took me about 2 or 3 years to get the contract, but by the time I got that contract, the guy that was over the buildings. I had been to church with the guy, had been to his house, had been in the backyard, had a couple of beers, watched the game. I knew his kids, so that's just part of being in a relationship. One of the other things I always tell people when if you go into someone's office and you're marketing towards doing business with them, I always go in and a person also just look around. And I never forget it was a situation where I had a guy who I was trying hard to get a contract with, and he was kind of shooing me away. I finally stopped by his office and called him. And I was looking around his office, and he acted like he really was just like, man, look, I only got a minute for you. You got to give me what you got and get on out of here, right? And I was looking around his office, and I saw that he had a picture of a girl with a basketball. And at that time, my daughter was a high school basketball player as well. So when he came in, I said, "Hey, man, your daughter play basketball?" Oh yeah, that's my daughter. I started talking about my daughter playing basketball. We sat there that whole meeting just talked about the girls playing basketball, and that got me right in the door. So just check those type things out when you go to an office. Lead source, send a thank you note to the person that referred you. Always do that. Follow up tasks. Follow up tasks is like give follow up calls. Do when you're cold calling and you say, hey, one of the things I always do is I like to call people first. Then my next thing I like to pop up. Then after I pop up, then I'm gonna kind of stay on you a little bit from there. That's just kind of my flow. Find your flow. But always have your follow up tasks. Services needed, services performed. See what people need, and then make sure you're performing well. Log conversations. Log your conversations you're having with people. So that way you won't be talking to this guy over here like I had the guy that was his daughter was playing basketball and I came in there and started saying, hey, don't your son play football? Then I only end up losing them because at the end of the day, the relationship, it could have came off as I was just having false conversation at that time. Schedule the next appointment and or the next follow-up appointment. It's been 6 months since we've seen you. Surely your toilet is looking funky by now. And I use that as a comment that you may be able to say, when you're trying to schedule the next appointment. All right. You got anything for that, Ken?
Yeah, I like that because when you're scheduling somebody's next appointment, that's a retention strategy. Hopefully, you did well the first time, and then did they call on you back? They want you to do that same standard of excellence that second time and beyond. So when you're scouting for a new business, retention is a growth strategy. Look at who referred them, keep up with that too, because the person name, email, that's your referral, but who referred them to you? It might be through your Google search, but keeping up with that can be very simple as a pen and pad. But other than that, keeping up with your retention as you build customers, make sure you repeat that business.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's customer relationship management.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, I mean, you can lead us into this, Ken.
We got is that cost? Oh yeah, cost smart. Yeah, this is a great relatable story because this gentleman, Cost Smart, he formerly had the salesmanship, you know, had the situation where he did some time in prison, and he transformed his life. When I read his story offline, I looked at the fact that he lost 70 pounds and did bodybuilding, body weight courses in his cell. And he turned his mind shift to a different say. He said, if I can do this for myself and find the weight loss within, maybe I could train some other people. And he founded Khan Body, a prison style fitness brand that hires formerly incarcerated trainers.
Okay.
But look at the first bullet, and I like that relatability, and I thank you for that, brother to brother, Mr. Lawrence, because when you have that idea from the streets and then going legit and then putting it past behind you, but also paying it forward, you don't even have to be that kind of person.
Right.
And then I hear oftentimes when you paying it forward to the alumni side of things, people hearing you for the first time in a Zoom call, but they didn't see you 20 years ago. They didn't
Right.
see your transformation. So I like when we have these parallels and we're talking to people who are behind the walls now, may have some of the same similar charges, but they could see some of those same parallels on themselves on the screen. He became a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur, proving second chances can lead to success through fitness. And now
Right.
he's a TEDx speaker, author, and mentor that helps build other people's lives, rebuilding their lives through fitness and entrepreneurship. One of the things I liked about his story was that he didn't start with money. He started with what he had. He had a daily discipline by default. He was in the system, but he
Right.
also had to control his body, his habits, and his thinking, and he turned that into a business. A lot of times, growth has to start internally, before it shows externally. And that's a great way to look at it. Um, I'm not so heavy in the fitness, but I like what I learned about how he parlayed it. He said, fitness equals discipline, discipline equals credibility, and credibility equals opportunity.
Mm.
And
That's good
and
stuff.
yeah, and I mean, sometimes we see people, we just see a screenshot or we see a picture of them, but then when we open up another tab and read further down, just a few more extra 2 minutes, you learn something new. So I always say every time I get on here, it's a pay it forward moment, but I always like to be a student of my future self. Fitness equals discipline, discipline equals credibility, and credibility equals opportunity. And when we think about fitness, not just physical, think about mental fitness. How you got to handle a lot of rejection. I've seen a lot of times you shared lunch. We used to like, man, I was starting out with the cleaning business. I was rejected. People didn't want to take me as a credible source to clean their toilets. But now you don't want to. Just look at me now. So it's
Right.
a testament to resilience and endurance and changing that mindset. So I like his story and
Right.
that winning mindset from a lemon to lemonade perspective.
Right.
Cosmo. Yes, sir.
And I'm always impressed with, about hearing the stories, man, because at the end of the day, you know, you never know what people go through to get to where they got to get to, and we all got struggles and we all imperfect people, and the beauty of it all is when people figure it out, and that,
Hmm.
that to me that's the dopeness of it all is like when you figure it out, you feel it,
Right, right.
so yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and like you say, when you figure it out, it's a believing in yourself too.
yeah,
Staying disciplined and getting back up every time you
there you
fail.
go.
Because you're gonna have successful people, you see them, but they don't avoid failure. They don't avoid the work. They use it as fuel to get better, and that's the
Right,
notes we take from them. We see them afterwards. But
right,
when you break it all down, they first got started. Everybody had to start somewhere. So nobody's coming to save us. We got to knock on our own door and be relentless at creating those open doors and building that expansion. So I like that. Yes, sir.
right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go into here's a quote from Dr. Valerie Young. Imposter syndrome It's the fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evidence of your own competence. That is so true. That is so true. Imposter syndrome. At the end of the day, a lot of if you ask 100% of the people in the world, are you perfect? 100% of the people in the world will say, no, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes just like anybody else. But when a situation happens of imperfection, that same 100% when they're in the imperfect state, you go to them and you'll say, hey, why this happened like this or why that happened like that, and they can't face it. I say 70 to 80% of the people can't deal with their imperfections. So it's just one of them things where you got if you believe that you're not a perfect person and you make mistakes just like anybody else, it's okay to walk in there and just try to become a better person. You know, and it's just that's kind of part of the imposter syndrome
Mhm,
mentality.
mhm.
So got to believe in yourself for sure. Um, let's get to the next one, Allie. So we're gonna talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. You want to lead that one off, Ken,
Yes, sir.
or you want me to lead it off?
This
Okay.
I like David Dahl. This is another gentleman that came re-entered back in society and contributed in his own unique way. One of the great things I like about entrepreneurship, you can design it your own unique way. You can paint your own picture. It has your skin to it. And when I looked at his story, he was born in Portland, but he came back from a lot of different bouts in prison, and
Uh-huh.
he was incarcerated in the beginning and just got tired of that, and he didn't really want to take over the parents' business in the beginning. But same thing. When I look at some of those parallels, we sometimes we don't want to start a business to take on everything that goes on to it, but sometimes it's a call. Formerly incarcerated, served 15 years in prison before rebuilding his life. Returned to his family's bakery and created Dave's Killer Bread, a line of organic whole grain breads. Transformed the brand into a multi-million-dollar company, later selling it for $275 million in 2015. He was a second chance employee as well, hiring former inmates or folks that had situations coming back. And his story provides that past does not define your future. Slideshow for folks, because sometimes we see them just on the screen. And if this is your first time hearing about like Cosmot or Dave Dahl, these folks, they had to start somewhere. And a lot of times we look at the parallels of pre-release, where he's shifting your mindset. um, as we look at it, he had to question his success because he didn't want to let his family down. His brother wanted him to join a business, but he didn't want to. And one of the things that I like about imposter syndrome, he said, man, I don't even really like the bakery business at all, but I'm being coerced in something bigger than me. So why don't we just go for it? And kind of like the fake it till you make it situation. Some of the wake up and breathe and look at yourself in the mirror lessons that we learn is you are a student of your future self. I'm sure in his thoughts he didn't imagine it be as big as he could be and was,
Right.
especially with reluctance. Sometimes when we hold ourselves up, we there's a part of us that needs to get out of their own way, but knowing it and knowing how to do it, sometimes you need somebody outside your own mind to help you do that. And in his case, it was his brother.
Mm.
His brother had to push him over the fence to remind him that, hey, look, man, the family needs your help. So when I look at it, it says he's openly discussed his struggles with self-doubt and fear of failure.
Mm.
He's openly shared that during his journey from incarceration to entrepreneurship, he often felt like an imposter, questioning his worthiness of success. But despite these things, he persevered and built a successful brand, exemplifying the power of resilience and self-belief. That's one of the greatest things that ex-offenders have, is a sense of resilience that gets under talked about in the business realm.
Right.
And
And one,
learned a lot from that story.
and one of the things I like about it is I noticed he probably baking probably wasn't his number one thing that he ever wanted to do, right? And for me,
Mm-mm.
I think about myself. I never looked at it like as putting my hand in people's toilet, and that was something that I like cleaning up my own house. I don't like cleaning up behind other folks. I really like cleaning up my own house, and that's about it. But it was an opportunity for me to make a good living. And then without the cleaning, then I can't buy real estate, and then I can't buy dump trucks and stuff like that. So, the importance out of this story as well is kind of like doing some things you may not really love to do. Sometimes you got to crawl before you walk. And that was one of the most important things I got out of this man's story right here, for sure.
So,
What we got up next, Allie? First, do anyone have any questions, anything, real quick before we move on? You see the hands raised, anything, any comments, Allie? None. Okay. All right. As you prepare for growth, continue to apply smart principles. Avoid large loans and high-risk financial commitments. Focus on organic growth. Here, that's what we teach. We teach starting off with low capital companies, start off with something that got low startup costs and things of that nature. One thing about being in financial commitments that you get in over your head, I feel like when you jump in large loans and high risk financial commitments at the beginning, it puts so much stress on you, it start altering your decision making. So what start happening is you start making unwise decisions because you feel the stress of having to pay the loan back or paying, or whatever high risk financial commitment you got in. So at the end of the day, try to start off with something that's small, something that if you had to do it, you could do it yourself, and then just grow into the point where, like prime example. For years, I had a low startup business, the cleaning company. Like I started that with $400 and turned it into a multi-million-dollar business. Now, when I got into the trucking, now I had to get loans because at the end of the day, each dump truck cost 300,000. So it was different. It was different times and different type businesses that you're involved with that's gonna need you to do one thing or other. But even with having to get loans for the trucks without the cleaning, I wouldn't have had those huge down payments they wanted at the beginning. So just be wise about your dealings. Most definitely try to avoid getting loans, these high risk financial commitments, getting in situations like that, please. Begin with the end in mind. And that was a statement that was made by our gentleman, Stephen Covey. Begin with the end in mind. What I call that is start you a good foundation to build upon. You know, if you prime example from day one, when I started a cleaning company, from day one I was in uniform. Cause that's how I saw my business. I saw my business one day being a business where everybody gonna be in uniform. We're gonna be uniform. We all gonna talk the same, look the same, be in the same space. So at the end of the day, with having zero contracts, I still was in uniform because that's how I wanted to set the standard for my business. Have a strategy around your growth. Please do. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes you start growing so fast, the money start coming so fast, it'll make your head spin. And that's a good thing. But still have a strategy for the next move. I never, even on the flip side of that, sometimes you can strategize and try to grow and not even in position to grow right. Like, prime example for me, I never forget. I remember I was marketing, I was trying to do commercial contracts. And I finally got a big contract. And guess what my big shocker was? How in the hell am I gonna pay these people this first payroll? You understand us? I hadn't even thought about that now. I just thought about I'm trying to get I'm trying to get the contract, not realizing if I get a contract of this size, I'll have to pay people twice before I get paid once. Because if I'm on a 30-day turnaround term, that means I got to run two payrolls in 1 month. So thank
Mm.
God I figured it out real fast, but I just hadn't thought about it. It was just one of those things I hadn't thought about. So make sure you have a strategy around your growth. Do you add employees or do you grow through referrals? That's a decision you have to make when you get to that point. You got to add, if your business grows, it may come to a point one day where you're going to have to add employees, right? At the end of the day, I tell people all the time, a good leader was a good follower at one point in time. So at the end of the day, get you good mentors and stuff around you in whatever business you're in, so then that way you can learn some of these things from these people. Start building it, incorporating that in your own company, and then that way you can grow into a great leader after you don't follow and see somebody else do it, and then you continue to pass on good jewels to your new employees. Okay, when you grow your team, when is the time to grow your team? When do you grow? When you grow your team, you got to emphasize the smart approach in branding. Utilize cost-effective digital marketing techniques and focus on building a strong customer relationship rather than expensive advertising. True. Build these relationships with people. If you build good relationships and you do good business, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna tell the next person. Then that person gonna tell the next person. And that'll end up being your advertising. Okay? Build your brand on a budget by focusing on strong customer service and leveraging digital platforms to reach your audience without significant spending. True. Use social media and all these free apps to put your name out there, to get yourself out there so people know who you are. Okay? Don't spend all this money on getting phone. I never forget when I first got in the business, back then everybody was big on getting phone book ads, right? And I paid all that money for that phone book ad. And I got one call out the whole year. And out the whole year, that one call, somebody asked for a job. I say, man, this want to waste some money right here. So sometimes you just got to get out there and just tie your shoes up and just get out there and beat the pavement. You got anything to go with that, Ken?
I like that, man, because that mean it may be some of these folks that don't have any distilled gray hairs on the call, and they may not remember the Dewey Decimal System or the Sunday newspaper where you only had the employment section and you couldn't have 24-hour digital access. So you think you're trying to grow and scale now in today's digital form. Back then, man, it was snail mail plus dinosaur. So if you spending money back then, and marketing. So and to get one call a whole year, man, I like that. You know, that transparency. But I like this too, Lawrence. Look at this one. Number one, serve 5 customers extremely well. That 5 gonna turn into 10 or 20 or 50, but your first 5 customers, serve them extremely well.
Yes.
Number 2, ask for 2 referrals each. And then number 3, collect those 3 reviews.
Right.
Because you're using digital marketing now, and then rinse and repeat. I like that because nowadays we have the Instagram, the before and after pictures, the 24-hourness. Back then, places closed, or you had to wait that once a week increment. But now, try to use these things and try to remember that scaling too fast, it destroys those fragile businesses. You know, when you can't handle the work, then you start looking at, but try to take it all in. But I like that. Yes, sir.
I always laugh and joke with my kids and say, if I had all the stuff y'all got in y'all fingertips, man, I'd have been a millionaire at 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. All right. Prepare for growth. Okay. You want to take this one, Ken?
Preparing for growth. The 4 channels. Yes, sir. I like that. Because and I like the direction the graphic is heading in, because it's an arrow, you know, it's a pipeline. As you prepare for growth, you know, we think in, you know, exponential forms and formats, and we pray for that, you know. But when you look at infrastructure, the identifiable scaling processes, look at internally too. Some of the things that we might be doing wrong, I'm pretty sure the difference between how you marketed yourself 20 years ago and how you market yourself now, you know, based on the scale and using some of those digital markets. So when we look at going in, preparing for this growth, analyzing your existing operations and identifying which processes that can be scaled effectively, to support business growth. I looked at that as put your own self under a microscope, because before you can handle multiple employees, make sure you have stuff, because we're dealing with $1,000 or less. So we got to have stuff like, a reliable phone, basic website, link tree, a professional email, clean logos, separate bank accounts, things like that, but just things that you're getting ready for business growth. And then identify from self-review before you hire more people. Look at what you're doing that can be improved, and also identify what you're doing well enough before you scale. As I look into number two, investing in your infrastructure, as we identify those things that ensure your business has the necessary technology. Most of us have a lot of recreational time we spend online, but the resources, that same YouTube, being a student of your future self, putting some of those study points, resources, and places to handle those increased demand and on capacity. I see sometimes when you get onboarded as an employee, they have everything in the portal. Your training, your pay card, everything's all in the portal a lot of times. So, as we look at companies that's done that for themselves as businesses, as you're looking to handle demand, technology is a big part of that. As we move into that third lane, hiring and training the right team, um, you're rebuilding. So you have to grow your team strategically. First off, it may be a first one person, you only, but then you also growing your team and focusing on hiring employees with the skills and the mindset to adapt to a scaling business. Um, Friends, family, sometimes it's people you don't know, but in a partnership, but making sure it's the right team that fits you, and considering that consistency to help you get out of that survival mode to train the right team. Also, and lastly, maintaining quality control. Learning as many parts of your business, if not all, as you can, implementing those quality assurance measures, checks and balances to ensure that consistency and customer satisfaction as your business expands. Follow up is a big part of that. Making sure that people have um, incrementally been told what sales or specials that you have. Say, oh, I didn't know you had that. So staying on top of your customers' needs, they need to see where you are with the new products, and then they feel neglected, and we lose money like that. So I think those four ideas from the beginning, identifying what you can do from a scalable self-review process before we expand, and then going into that infrastructure, if you need more technology, or if you, from my standpoint, I need to learn technology. So I had to sit down and identify all the apps that I need to know that's going to help get me in the game. So I had to invest in the knowledge of self-review and what I didn't know to be able to go to that next level. And right now I don't have any employees, but knowing that is a part of that infrastructure for growth through hiring and training the right team. And lastly, being up on those quality assurance points so that your customers could always get the same consistency every time through your service or products. Because they demand that. Once you set a good standard of service and they deserve that greatness that you present all the time, they don't expect anything other than that.
All right. Good stuff, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Anybody got any questions? Comments? All right, so y'all understand how to prepare for your growth. You understand, identify your processes, and then you investing in your infrastructure. That's the worst thing not to do is invest in your infrastructure, because you can't grow like that. All right. And then when it's time to hire the right people, if you unlearned and you ain't on top of your own business, how you gonna train and teach the people how to do it the right way? You know, stand on business and make sure that you're operating the way you wanted to operate. So then everybody who fall in behind you can do the same thing. And then maintaining it. A lot of times I laugh all the time because I got a buddy. We always say, man, it's easy to make money. It's hard to keep it.
Mm.
And see,
Yeah.
that's what what's called it. That's where a lot of people fall into the trap at. They start looking at They start looking at the successes and then they start acting according to the successes they having at that time, not realizing that, you still got growth to take place. All right.
Hey, hey, Lawrence, not to cut you off, man, but when
Uh,
when did you know that it was time for you to not become just a one person band and hire somebody? When was that turning point for you?
Probably around about going into year three, after year two, when I started getting commercial contracts and I started getting stuff like schools and things like that. So I knew I needed to have a staff in place. Um, from the beginning, originally, my mentality always was to create the company and run the company, and not work for the company. And I think a lot of people get stuck when I say not work, mean not going out every day kind of clean and trying to figure it out. So my mentality always was to own and operate the company, right? I think the key thing to it was prior to owning and being a real owner operator, I had to get out here and work, right? And I
Hmm.
had to work the business. And what they did was it allowed me to learn and know all the ins and outs of the business. So therefore, when it came time for me to start training people and putting people in place, I was able to get in the super clean way. That's what we call it, the super clean way. Okay, like when people come and get hired, and I hire people now, right before I hire them, I sit down with them, I talk to them, and they get talking about what they used to do and do, and I tell them real nice and professionally. I don't care what you did at Duke, the super clean. I don't care what you did at whatever other place you was working at. We got a certain way we do things here, and we want you to buy into this way. If you
Right.
buy into this way, you'll be okay. You understand? So, yeah, it was just when I started getting bigger contracts and things like that, and I knew, at this point, I need about 20 and 30 people, and I know I can't. I'm gonna drive myself crazy trying to do all this by myself. You know what I mean? So, at that point, that's when I knew it was time to like hire people. Um, that's kind of, it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to get to that point as well because in hiring people, mean you got to learn to trust people. And throughout my whole life, it was hard to trust people. So now at the end of the day, I'm training myself to do something that I'm not accustomed to doing, which is trusting people. And that was a struggle for me because I still wanted to be so hands on. And it's funny because now, like I just was talking to a new driver today, before he gets started his job, and I tell him, I said, I'm not the micromanaging guy. I'm not gonna be the guy that's gonna be coming behind you, making sure you up and things like that. But it's certain things in place that's gonna let me know if you're on top of your stuff. Like prime example, I used to drive. I got CDLs too. So when I first started the company, I drove at one point in time. So if you ain't bringing in a certain amount of tickets, I know you out here playing. I need to replace you because I
Right.
know what that truck should do each day. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? I told him, take care of the truck like it's yours because if something happened to that truck, I'm not gonna take a truck from somebody else to make sure you're working that day. You just gonna have to sit out till your truck ready.
Mm.
So it's just certain things, man, that as you grow, it'll just it'll become secondhand. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna learn. One of the things I had to learn a long time ago, well, it wasn't that long ago, it was probably about 10, 11 years ago. I had to learn how to get out of the hiring process. Because what I was doing was I was sitting in on interviews and I'm hearing all these stories about everybody. Everybody talk the same game. Oh man, I just came home. I'm trying to change my life. I just want to take care of my kids. And they tell you the sad story. You get in there, you start having compassion for the story, and then all of a sudden they come here stealing out the building. So what I realized was a lot of people knew how to tug on my heartstrings because they knew I was falling incarcerated. I want to help people. So at the end of the day, you got some people that they'll tell you what you want to hear. You understand what I'm saying? Like in the interview. So one of the smartest things I learned to do was to stay out. So the only thing I sit in on is final interviews. So therefore, by
Mhm.
the time I sit in on the final interview, they done filter through all the bull crap and they don't put somebody in front of me that they think that I will hire myself. So it's just a lot, that you'll learn. You'll learn from falling, getting up.
Yeah.
But you'll learn for
I
sure.
like that because you use yourself as a model for what you recognize was an improvable area. You was
Right,
in it too much. You had to remove yourself, and I like that because that's the beginning. I've been identifying what works well and what you
right,
could do to improve.
right. And you got to be humble enough to do that because at the end of the day, you got some people that's power struck, right? You got some people that's just like, I own the company. This is where it's gonna be because I pay these checks. Come on, man. What's the what that's getting us, right? Because at the end of the day, what I always tell all my employees, look, without y'all, I'm nothing. With the cleaning
Yeah,
company, I got like with the cleaning company at this point, I think I got about 125, 130 people working now. So I always tell them, without y'all, I'm nothing. Now, without me, you can go get a job somewhere else. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, when you really believe that and you recognize that, you'll learn how not to treat people wrong, how to do right by people. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I always been a firm believer in if you treat people right, you put them in a position to win, you know, they should do good for you. You shouldn't have any problems, right? And if any problems do occur, then you'll feel comfortable getting rid of them. Because you done did everything you're supposed to do to try to put them in a position to win.
right.
So it's a lot to it. It's a beautiful thing. That's one of the blessings that I like out of it is being able to give other people opportunity. You know, I take people all the time fresh out of prison. I got a buddy that got a CDL school over in Raleigh. I send them all every time they come home. They want to get CDL. I send them over there to his school. We end up getting them a grant through this place. It's a program called Work First. We get them their grant so they can get their CDLs. When they come out of school, I bring them over here and hire them. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. Did I see any questions, Allie?
Yeah, there's a
I
couple
thought
for
I saw.
you specifically. So someone asked, are you involved in all the final round interviews?
No, I sit in on like so when we to the point where we narrow it down to the candidates that we want to hire, then I sit in on the final interview and then we'll go over some of the final stuff like, what you thinking about this, where you see yourself at this time, things like that. But before I get to that point, they probably done went through two interviews already. And they done went through the interviews with my staff. Did I answer the question?
I think so.
Did I-
If
okay.
not, Tony, let us know if there's anything else. Lawrence, one more question for you. So
Okay.
someone asked, what is the biggest crisis you've ever faced in the startup of your cleaning company? And then how did you bounce back? So like when you started the cleaning company,
Right.
was there a big crisis? And if so, how did you come out of it?
I think that's a good question. I think the biggest crisis that I ever faced with the cleaning was employees, right? And it was around that time when I was too involved with the hiring process. And I had a situation where it was Christmas time and I got a lot of schools on the contract. And it was Christmas time. I'm sorry. It was Christmas time. And during Christmas time, one of the principals at the school had bought gift certificates for all the staff. And I had a whole bunch of people working in that building that was formerly incarcerated. And I had never faced a situation where people were stealing, right? And there was a situation where they stole all the gift certificates, they were stealing cameras out of the building. And the whole thing was when it got back to me, I've been with this client for about 5 years. They appreciated everything. And the important thing for me at that time was to get to the bottom of it. Because at the end of the day, I never tell my clients that we won't make mistakes. We human just like anybody else. But my whole thing I always tell my clients is when we make mistakes, we're gonna correct them. Right. So I had to go through a whole process. I did a little bit of lying and saying, hey man, look, these buildings got cameras in here. We'll find out who did it. You getting charges pressed against you. I don't care about your probation. I don't care about none of that. Because at this time, y'all messing with my livelihood. Right? So when I started putting that out there, you had certain people coming to the office. Look, I don't want to be a snitch. Look, at the end of the day, you ain't coming here with these people. They about to make you lose your job. You better let me know and I got to the bottom of it. I got them to return all the stuff. I returned all the stuff over to the school. I kept my word to the employees. I told them, look, all I'm gonna do is fire you. I ain't gonna terminate you and call your probation officer and all that if you bring the stuff back. And at that point, I kind of learned at that point, all right, maybe I'm too involved because all these people I hired based off of hearing they sad story. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I feel like that was the greatest crisis that I kind of faced at the beginning, and I learned fast from it. Like my family members, I don't hire my family members. I went through a crisis at the beginning with them. Well, I had a situation where I think I had like 15 apartments I had to clean, and at that time, my little brother and all his little his game banging friends, all them was working with me cleaning apartments. And I set up 15 apartments for one day. It was like on a Friday, and I had set it up for all of us to do them, and then when we did them, we was gonna be done at a certain time. Didn't nobody show up the next day. Now I'm in a situation where either I gotta clean these apartments like I told the people, or either I gotta tell them I can't do it. I'm trying to build my reputation at the time. I cleaned 15 apartments. It took me. I left out 6 o'clock that morning. I got home 6:15 the next day. That whole day I had cried. I never forget, it was summertime. Man, my arms locking up. I'm losing so much sweat, but I got the job completed. I did a good job. And when I woke up about 2 or 3 days later after being tired, it had built a whole new resilience in me. I said, man, I know I got this. You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to
Mm.
have crises that come in business. You're going to have situations that's going to challenge you. And then that's gonna be the time to see what you're made of. It don't even mean, even if you lose in that situation, if you fight through that situation, it still will build something in you. So I hope I answered your question. Yeah. All right. I know we got a lot. Let me catch us up a little bit. All businesses should have a set of values that employees know for sure, for sure. And before you work for me on any company I have, you got to fill out a check. You got to fill out a rule sheet. I got rule sheets. I give everybody a copy of that rule sheet. I sit down with them and read the sheet with them before I hire them, because I want them to understand this is what we're gonna follow. If we ain't following this, you need to go work somewhere else. Well, this is what we're gonna follow right here. These set of values that's on this paper. When to hire. You hire when you have the revenue. When you can pay people, that's when you start hiring folk. Secondly, when you hire, when you can no longer handle the workload by yourself. A lot of people can't grow in business because they're too afraid to let go of the work. They're too afraid to trust people to do the work. You can't be here in marketing and running the business and out there doing the work all the time. It just can't work all the time. So you got to know what you got to get it. I'm sorry. Identify good employees. Conduct a background check. That's important. Conduct reference checks. If they have these people on here that they say they used to work for, please go call those folks. Please. Because I have a lot of people that come to me all the time and say, hey, yeah, I want to come work for you, so and so and so and so. Yeah, we used to clean that same building you got now. First thing on my mind is they telling me like it's gonna be an asset that they coming to me. In my mind, I like, well, if you worked there before, and I don't want who just got the contract, you did something to make them lose it. You understand? So do your background checks, do your reference checks. I'm sorry. This is my daughter called me like crazy. I hope nothing's going on, but I'll call her back in a minute. Conduct multiple interviews with multiple people in your organization. Okay? Do multiple interviews. Don't just hire right off bat. Okay? Develop an onboarding and orientation program for new hires. Okay? Should cover the company vision, values, and their job description and expectations. That's part of your onboarding and your orientation. They should understand the company, the vision of the company, the values that the company hold, and their job description and expectations. Most jobs is a two-way street. What the expectations you have as an employer is the people coming in doing the job. What their expectation is as an employee is to get a paycheck. If those two going together, it should be smooth sailing. Okay? Employee termination. Hire slowly, fire quickly. And I 100% agree with that. Hire slowly, fire quickly. What they mean by that is hire slowly. Take your time to put the right people in place. But if you put the people in place and they're not a good fit, you can't sit there and let all the morale of the rest of the employees go down. You can't sit here and let one person destroy everything you done built with the other 15 employees. You just got to get rid of them. Sometimes you just got to cut. It's just like a tree. If you ever notice planting, I don't know if anybody know anything about planting, which I don't know a lot about planting, but I know one thing for sure is when you prune a tree, you're pruning a tree or you're pruning a plant in order for the new leaves to grow. So that means sometimes you got to cut off the dead stuff in order for the new stuff to come. Y'all with me? All right, you got anything to add with that, Ken?
No, man, I love it. If someone's harming your business or your customers, act swiftly. A lot of times I go to places of fast food, and I see sometimes how a employee might respond to a customer and they haven't even paid yet, and you're just kind of chopping at them. It's like, well, wait a minute, is this a hireable offense or is this a fireable one? And then the
Right,
manager's not going to come out after every transaction to help you locate those five core values to the right. Like, accountability, that's the first one. Taking ownership of things and building that into your employees, and then building a sense of inclusion. Everybody, act as if this is your own, just like you mentioned. Hey, man, take this truck and treat it as if it's yours. And that's a
right,
sense of teamwork. It starts from within, but then as you build upon helping employees understand that that's a general central core value, and then getting creative with it. Just like you said, when you had to uncover employee theft, you had to get creative with the street smarts and the snuff them out. And how do I do this to maintain my standard of excellence for my
right,
name brand sake? And then you took
right.
that all of that, man, and you took it on your shoulders and you clean all those apartments. And I think a lot of times, after the Bengay, after the massage, man, what it makes us do is it helps us be appreciative of who we become after the process. That's
And to
even
be
more.
and it be a resilience. It be you to the point where you
Hmm.
like, hey, man, look here. If I gotta do this myself, I'm gonna make it happen. I ain't gonna let nobody kill my dream.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, this is the vision God
Yeah.
gave me. So at the end of the day, if I gotta make it happen myself, it's gonna happen. You know, and, and like I say, like you said about the restaurants, I hate going places and see bad customer service. Cause I'm sitting here looking at this person like this person don't work hard to build a business, and you out here destroying it with this foolishness. Like I remember, I never forget. I went to a restaurant one time, and I get in, I pull up through the drive-through. Every time he be like, "Yeah, can I help you?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me get the number one. Is that it?" No, no, no. I want to get ketchup on it. Is that it? He just kept saying, "Is this it?" And so I just drove up to the one. I say, "Look, man." I say, I don't work here. I need to read the menu to see what I want to get. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? Then I say, are you about to get off work? And he was like, no. I was like, oh man, I thought you was in a hurry trying to get off work. So,
Right.
I just, it drives me bananas, man, because really
Me too.
you're destroying something that somebody trying to build, man. It's crazy. Uh, how are we looking on time, Alan? We running smooth or we need to
Yeah,
catch
we're
up?
good. I did get a question. Someone asked, so do you usually give an employee more than one chance before firing them, or is there like a scale that you use for like firing?
It depends on what the offense was. But I do that. But what I do is I go through the same process regardless of who it is. Because the worst thing you want to do is make one employee feel like you're treating another one different. Like that's not good human resources, right? So any employee who have any violation is up to his supervisor to give him a verbal warning. Okay. And with the verbal warning, he can do it however he wants to. He can pull him to the side. He can give him a verbal in front of the whole crew. However he do, he got to give him a verbal warning and he got to document it. Right. The second offense, we give him a write up, unless it's an offense or a fireable offense. Right. So we give him a write up. We explain to him. We give him that write up. We tell him the terms of the write up. We tell him the time frame of the write up. At that time, anything happened after that is at our discretion Do we want to terminate that person, or do we want to extend the probationary period, or do we want to put them on a suspension period, which means you just can't even you work without pay. And then, so that's kind of our protocol. I'm so proud to say, out of all these years of having to terminate people, I've been in business for 26 years. And out of all these years of terminating people, I only lost one case, one case with Unemployment Security Commission. And that's where people try to go and get unemployment checks on you. And the only reason why I lost that case was because the supervisor had wrote down the wrong time on the write up, and somehow they wiggled me out of it. But the reason why I say I'm so proud of that is because if it's a situation where say for instance I ran out of work and I couldn't provide a job for you and you didn't have a choice but to file for unemployment, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. But if I'm providing you an opportunity and you coming in here squandering your opportunity and then I got to terminate you, I don't like the fact of having to give you unemployment. So that's why I say I'm proud of that. And they let me know my system worked because when they get in those unemployment hearings, they're gonna ask you about what's your process. I tell them the same thing I just told y'all. I'm able to pull out hey, right here, we gave him verbal on this day. This day right here, we gave him a written. At this time right here, he continued. He was still within the time frame, and usually they say, let's throw it out. Yes. Okay. All right. You want to take this, Ken?
Sure thing.
Hey, Alec, I'm gonna step away for 1 second. Let me make sure nothing's going on with the girls. Go ahead, Ken.
Yes, sir. We have the hiring strategies. And, when we look at references online, there's a lot that we can look at. But one of the main structures that we like to reference in this screen is ONET Online. A lot of times people use it for job descriptions, building resumes, having some comparable references in terms of job leads and terms. It's a real robust website. So start there. So we're looking at it in terms of a hiring strategy, but it's definitely internationally connected to different fields. And the way we want to look at referencing this is creating a detailed job task list. If you're hiring people or you're trying to build a job description, for instance, or you're trying to build tasks for onboarding or building a manual of some sort. Some of the things you can receive from ONET Online are some examples to determine the knowledge, the skills, and abilities. These are usually known as KSAs. If you do any research online, you'll see them with like an acronym called KSAs. These are knowledge, skills, and abilities that you tend to hire for. We heard from Lawrence, we talk about hiring from the heartstrings or hiring from just one facet of things, and you don't look at these other three. These things don't tend to be as detailed, and then your description of the job task tend to be as murky. So use this to help create a short but targeted job ad. It helps you with terminology. It'll also introduce you to different trends. That'll be geographically where you're located. And it helps you create a structured interview. If you're interviewing certain tier of talent and everybody has the same certifications, everybody has same referenceable number of years of experience, sometimes these distinguishing viewpoints can help you create a more structured interview to identify skills and people individually. And it also helps you give a more detailed job description to your employees, and it uses it as a reference when correcting their performance. There's a thing called the sandwich method. We'll talk a little later about that, where you're using praise, correction, and then performance praise on the back end to kind of use as a correcting term and terms, because sometimes you have to do things as mentioned on not just one occurrence, but on several occurrences. And lastly, making sure that you're documenting this, not just the performance itself, the incident, but the good, and so that you can keep a written incremental system, weed out the people that's not benefiting your business. So these are great strategies. Onetonline.org is a great resource to start off with. And let me see if I have any other notes with ONET. Let's see. You, as an ex-offender, you understand second chances, and you're building a value-based team. And when you're looking at learning new terms, you're learning new websites daily as well. We spend a lot of time just bouncing around the internet recreationally, and we see things there. But when we're looking about a hiring strategy, these are some of the most professional decisions that you're making in your businesses. Um, why use these strategies? Because clarity reduces a lot of mistakes. And this helps when your budget is tight, and a bad hire is really expensive, with onboarding, hiring, and these, your money is already limited starting off. So you want to create something that is a clear job description, has clear performance standards, and have a clear probationary period. Um, we have something called a special focus contract as well. If you're getting a time to correct these errors, or kind of steer the ship, documenting everything, and it protects your business legally and structurally.
Yeah, that sounds good. And that's just like I'm back. I'm sorry. And that's just like with me in my buildings. I use checklists as well, um, because one of my ways of telling them, like, look, you never know what you never could say to anybody you don't know what your job description is. We got a checklist right here, So yeah, so having some kind of checklist and things like that in place is always good. Yeah, that creates structure in
Yes,
the
sir.
building. All right, managing employees. This is so important. Please listen to this, y'all, because one day all of you guys are gonna be in a position where you're gonna have employees, and it's important. A lot of managing employees, honestly, is how you should be really managing your life pertaining to anybody. Okay, like just to your wife, to your kids, all that. I feel like the same way you manage your employees should be the way you manage your life on how you treat people. And the first thing is manage others like you would like to be managed. Treat people like you want to be treated. Okay. If you don't like people screaming on you and cussing you out, talking to you in all kind of way, you know good and well if you was on the job and somebody doing that to you being ready to fight. Don't do that to the next person. Okay? Be clear on your expectations in the beginning. That's so important because I always tell like sometimes my supervisors will mess up and I say, look, what's going on in here? I come in the bit. I might stop by a building, and I'm one of those type of people. I want all the people working together. If they're on the night crew need to stay together. I got it like that for a reason because I don't want people scattered all around the building. I don't want people being able to get into other people's stuff. So I may come in and say, why is that person over there working and that person over there? What's going on? And the supervisor may be like, oh yeah, um, I tried this way, so forth, so on. Most of the time if I have to go in there and recorrect that, then guess what people start feeling like? Oh no, this ain't my job. This ain't how. You understand what I'm saying? Because you done trained them to do it the wrong way from the beginning. So I always tell people the way you want this stuff to function, do it from the beginning. So therefore, you won't have to try to. I don't know if you ever heard people say break a horse. You ever heard people say, "Man, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to break a horse." You know, that way you won't have to be in that situation. Have a written job description. Just like I said a few minutes ago, checklist. That's important. Have it wrote down so therefore a person never have a if a person in my building say, after we dust and sweep the floors and mop the floors, what do we do next? They don't even have to guess. They automatically see it right down there. All right, after you do this, you understand? Have it so to the T and to the point. Guess what now? To tell you, having all this stuff like that is so important on getting sleep at night and getting rest. Because having all these structured things in place like this, it give me a chance to sleep at night. Like you don't hear my phone ringing from my daughters, but you don't hear my business phone ringing. Like when people trying to, I'm trying to micromanage people, tell me what to do this time. No, I got all that structure so everybody do what they supposed to do. Get agreement on performance standards. That's the same thing I'm saying about the when I hire people. I got a what's called I got a rule sheet that they have to sign before they start. Have it in place where they know. Reinforce positive behavior often. I always tell people, man, you're doing an awesome job. A lot of times I come through, and then you got to know who your labor amongst too. Because I got some people where I can't tell them too soon they're doing a good job because that's gonna make them start doing a bad job. You understand what I'm saying? So I may have to tell them on a Friday, man, look, you rocking out in here, man, because I know they got all weekend to get that out of their system. Come on, that money. You understand what I'm saying? So know who your labor amongst. Reinforce positive behavior. The same way you always tell them when they're doing wrong, they wrong. Tell them when they're doing good. Encourage them when they're doing good. Give them their praise when they're doing good. Catch employees doing something right. Intentionally try to catch people doing right so you can give them that. Call out unacceptable performance as soon as you see it. Don't wait. That's so important. Don't wait. Call it out right then. Hey, look, this is not how we do things, man. This is how this is how I need to be. Use the sandwich method. Praise, correct, praise. Like I always say, when I have a conversation with one of my employees, I say, look, I greatly appreciate you here. And let's say this is a situation where I got to get on them about something. Hey, look, I greatly appreciate you here, man. Thank you for your loyalty. I noticed all the good things you've been doing, but that being late all the time, it's kind of affecting the whole crew. When you get in late, the crew that started over here, miss a couple of assignments, you put everybody behind. Let's just work on being on time, man. We really want you to still be here. We appreciate you being here. If I didn't want you here, I wouldn't even be having this conversation with you. Please do this for your crew, man. Make everybody else happy. Let everybody else get home to their family the same way you want to get to yours. And just continue in excellence, man. Everything else you're doing is awesome. If we can just get that being late together, we good. See how smooth that was? So, so I pretty much reel
Man,
him in. I reeled him in on how good he doing. I corrected him about telling him how he late, and then I smoothed it out on encouraging him to move forward in a positive way. These things I just said is things you should apply to your own life. You should apply this to your kids, apply this to your wife, apply this to people around you. Because all this right here, all this is saying is appreciation, respect, and I'm glad you're here. But also saying we got to do this the right way. We got to get this done the right way. In order for all of us to continue to get a check and eat, we got to do this like this. All in one. You got anything to add to that, Ken?
I love it, man, because a lot of times when you're trying to reprimand people, especially if they're close to you, with friendship and all that, it's not about being soft. It's about you setting the tone.
Yeah.
And it's about respect, communication, and clarity. You want those things to come across in the expectations, and it seems like employees respond best when they feel seen, heard, and supported,
Right. Right. Most
even though you're giving them tough feedback. I have
definitely.
several supervisors, and they have several. They all have their unique personalities. But I know when one pulls me to a team, is talking about one thing, pull me another thing, and some of those things overlap. But it's all about respect, communication, and clarity. Love it.
Facts. Facts. And don't let me walk into a building. I never forget, like this was years ago. This had to be over 15 years ago. I had made a mistake. I hired somebody I knew. And I come in the building, and when I'm coming down the hallway, it's at a bank. It's in the basement, in the basement of the bank. And I'm just hearing somebody going, oh. I said, what the word? So I come down the hallway. As soon as I come to turn the corner, I had already promoted him to supervisor because he'd been doing good. And I was like, all right, and he down there. When I say he down there, man, he giving them people the business. And I say, look, man, you leave. I just told him right there, hey. You leave. Go ahead and leave. You go home. I'll talk to you later. And then when I explained to them, man, I apologize. And to be honest, I lost the whole crew because by then the morale, ain't no telling how long this been going on. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? So the morale of the crew was gone. I lost that whole crew. But I did tell them at that time, look, I'm the person that signed your check and I won't talk to you like that. I'll never allow nobody to do you like that. And I apologize on his behalf. He won't be in here anymore. And hopefully we can move forward with this, so forth and so on. I had to do damage control. I terminated the friend and all that, but I just don't. I just can't do it. I just don't like seeing people done wrong at all.
Yeah.
Uh, Leadership. No one will work harder or care more about your business than you. Always remember that. And in remembering that, always make the best decision for your business. Don't let. I always tell people all day long, if I allow you to come in here and do what you want to do on my business, that's just like me being at a crap game. I know everybody have been to a crap game before. And it's just like you down there with the dice and you rolling the dice and you throw it down. Boom. You crap out. You turn around to me and say, give me $20. I give you $20. You roll again, lay it out. Hey, give me another 20. That's the same thing you're doing if you let somebody run your business and do what they want to do on your job. Okay? No one will work harder or care more about your business than you. Carry it that way. Don't allow anybody to do any damage to your business. I tell people all the time, it's my responsibility to take care of my family. The way I take care of my family is through this business. I'm not going to let you destroy me taking care of my family. Now, if you want to take care of yours, come on, let's go for the ride. But if not, get the hell out of my way. Okay? There are no perfect or natural leaders. They come in all shapes and sizes. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. What are the values you convey to your customers and your team? Examples: integrity, character, excellence, ownership, gratitude, abundance, teamwork, balance, consistency, fun. Fun is like important as well. Make them feel like they want to come back tomorrow, man. Yeah, I tell my guys, man, let y'all laugh here. I love when I go to the building, I hear them in there laughing and joking. I come in, man, what's good? I hop right in with them, laughing, joking. They doing their job well. Everybody happy. Everybody like each other, man. That's a beautiful thing. You know, create a solid structure. Outline roles and independencies. That's so important. It's so important because I got so many employees. I can't talk to everybody all the time, right? So at the end of the day, I got team leaders, which is on-site supervisors, and then I got supervisors that's over the team leaders. The only people I really want to talk to is the supervisors and my office manager. If I need to talk to, sometimes I talk to the team leaders if I need to deal directly with something. Most definitely, I want to talk to just the regular employees. Now, I always let everybody know if you need to talk to me, feel free. I'm always an open book. I'm always my phone always call me, but don't undermine your supervisor. If you call me, first thing I'm gonna ask you is, have you had an opportunity? Did you run this by your supervisor? Have you gave them an opportunity to deal with this? No. Why are you calling me? Talk to your supervisor. Follow protocol. So make sure you got it structured, have protocol in place, have it structured so everything will flow smoothly. Give individualized considerations to your employees. Don't treat everybody the same. You can't treat everybody the same. You just can't. I got 5 kids. I got one kid that's super soft. I know if I say something to her like, hey girl, go sit down, she might start crying. But then I might talk to my other daughter and be like, hey girl. Or I might say to my other daughter, hey pretty girl, just sit down. And she gonna keep doing whatever she do. You understand what I'm saying? I just gotta deal with each one of them differently because they all different people. They all got different, attitudes. They all got different ways of moving and things like that. Same thing with your employees. And also, another thing I would add in here too is always when you're doing your individualized consideration, take in mind that people go through stuff every single day. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be, sometimes I come in and I see a person having a problem. I'm like, you all right? You good? You sure? No, I smile. You sure? All right. If you need to, call me when you get off. And they may call me and I just might talk regular to them, give some encouragement, and life just beating them up. You understand what I'm saying? They might be I might tell the supervisor, look, don't lay off her a little bit. She might miss a couple things. This ain't the day to really just get on her. This is the day where she off a little bit, let's go behind her and kind of get her, you know, just don't ride her so bad because everybody have a bad day. Don't take that to as an owner, don't take that to the job. And as employees, I tell them, don't bring that to the job. We all go through stuff, right? So take that in consideration as well as you individualizing your employees, okay? Look for opportunities and obstacles within and outside the company. Okay? Practice good decision making. That's so important. Leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest, learning fast, caring about your people. That is the absolute truth. A good leader is a person that'll listen. That's what a good leader is. It's so many times I thank God that I listen to my employees. It's been situations where I'm about to blow the whole building up. I'm about to make a mess. I never forget, it was a situation where the crew was messing up so bad. The people had been sending me emails talking about they were going to terminate my contract. We ain't get it together. And I went over there while I went crazy. Man, look, I called the supervisor now. Look, I want everybody fired. Blah, blah, blah. He didn't, and, the supervisor said right there and looked at me. And after I got through doing all that, he say, hey, look, I understand it's your business and you can do whatever you want to do. And I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. But if we fire this person right here, how we going to get this done? If we do this to this person right now, how we going to get this done? And I just said that I thought about it. I said, you right. I said, you do what's best. And eventually we weeded out the whole crew, but we did it in another manner. We did it one by one and we did it how it made sense. Thank God I listened to him. And at the end of the day, that's all I always say about just keeping yourself humble as a business owner, because at the end of the day, it's all about the team winning. It ain't about you winning or it ain't about them winning. It's about the team winning. So if I got to take the back seat in order for somebody else to lead, in order for it's all, I always tell people that come work for me, look, all micromanage. If you come up with a better idea or something that we can do that can do the job better, let me know. I want to see where I can find it and purchase it and get it over there to you. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, that's a good leader. A good leader is a leader that's a person that's willing to learn, that's willing to listen, that's willing to be honest. They got to be able to learn fast. They got to care about your people. Okay? Your job is to help match people's strengths with what your business needs. That's so true. Always put people in a position to win. Always do. It's, it's certain stuff I do. Like I say, look, I look at a group of people and be like, I know them two group of people can't work together. Already, already know this little lady right here a little bit sassy, and this little lady right here a little bit too quiet. And that sassiness gonna override that quietness, and she gonna want to leave. So let me put her over here with the other quiet folk. See what I'm saying? So just make good decisions for your business. I seen what's that? They got to leave.
I think so. We've got 4 minutes left. We've got
Okay.
one more good slide, so I'm gonna change
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna say this real fast. I don't want about to be able to leave without getting any questions in. Have processes behind how you deliver your service. Your use checklists to standard process of work. A cup of coffee should come with. Your order should come with. What is your sales process? After a few days following order completion, ask for a review. Continue to work with your suppliers. Collaborate with your team on new ideas. Mistakes will happen. Be transparent with your customers, and they'll often become more loyal. Be honest. Don't tell them you can hang upside down and clean nothing. You can't. Is that it? All right.
That
Let's
was
get
it. Good
let's
job.
get Nerber Chapel. Have they left the room yet?
Yeah, I think we had to
Okay.
leave. It's a
Okay.
bit early, but this is good because we've got about 3 minutes left, and I do need to go back over and of course survey stuff with everyone briefly. So as always, thank you so much, Lawrence. Thank you, Ken. We could not be here without you. I mentioned this in the beginning of class. We're gonna mention it one more time, everyone. Tomorrow you will receive the recap email. In the recap is going to be linked to the end of course survey. Please make sure you complete the end of course survey in order to get your certificate of completion. Also in the end of course survey, I've got two other things for you. So one is an industry report. If you're interested in requesting an industry report for your specific business, you can fill that out on the appropriate line in the survey. I will get that and I will submit the industry report back to you. And then we are looking for 2 to 3 graduate speakers. We always ask individuals graduating the program if they'd like to speak at graduation for a couple of minutes. A lot of people share their experience with the course or words of wisdom, words of encouragement for others. If that's something you're interested in, there is a question in the end of course survey about that. I just wanted to flag it so you knew that. And then I will be out of office the rest of the week. So I'm gonna, after classes tonight, I will get everything uploaded to YouTube. I will schedule the recap to go out to you tomorrow. But if you complete the end of course survey and you're waiting for a response from me tomorrow, please don't. I will get back to you first thing Monday. I'll have very limited access to email the next couple of days. I just want to set expectations for everyone now. I will see them. I will get back to you next week, I promise. But I did want to flag that. Otherwise, I don't see anything else. Thank you again, Lawrence. Thank you so much, Ken. Hope you all
Thanks,
have a
Ken.
great rest of
Thank
your
you.
Thanks, everybody.